Welcome back to Learning English Through Storytelling is one of the best ways to improve your language skills. Stories like David's provide context and emotion, making new vocabulary and grammar rules more memorable and engaging. By immersing yourself in real-life scenarios and personal experiences, you not only enhance your understanding of the language, but also connect more deeply with how it's used in everyday conversations. This approach helps you practice speaking, listening, and comprehension in a way that's both enjoyable and practical. My day-to-day life morning. I'm David, 29 years old. I woke up to the soft chime of my phone alarm at 6:30 a.m., rubbing my eyes and stretching my arms. I glanced at the window, where the first light of dawn was peeking through the curtains. After a few minutes of lying in bed, I finally pushed myself to get up. The bathroom was my first stop, where I brushed my teeth with minty toothpaste, the cool taste waking me up fully, and splashed cold water on my face. For my morning run, I threw on my favorite gray jogging pants and a simple black t-shirt. Heading to the kitchen, I poured myself a glass of orange juice and grabbed a banana for a quick energy boost. As I stepped outside, the cool morning air hit my face, refreshing and invigorating. I started my jog through the quiet neighborhood, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the empty streets. Breakfast. By the time I got back home, it was around 7:30 a.m. I was a bit sweaty, but felt energized. After a quick shower, I dressed in my work clothes, a crisp white shirt, navy blue trousers, and my brown leather shoes. I made my way back to the kitchen, this time to make a proper breakfast. I decided to cook scrambled eggs with toast and a side of avocado. I carefully cracked the eggs into a bowl, whisking them with a fork before pouring them into the heated pan. The smell of eggs cooking filled the kitchen, making my stomach rumble. As I buttered the toast, I thought about my plans for the day. I had a meeting with a new client, and I was excited, but also a bit nervous. I sat down at the small wooden table by the window, enjoying the warmth of the sun as I ate my breakfast. The eggs were fluffy and the toast was perfectly crispy. I took my time savoring each bite, washing it down with another glass of orange juice.
Work. By 8:30 a.m., I was ready to head to work. I grabbed my laptop bag and keys and walked out the door. My office was about a 15-minute drive away, and I enjoyed the quiet time in the car, listening to my favorite podcast on the way. At the office, I greeted my colleagues with a smile and made my way to my desk. My first task of the day was to prepare for the meeting with a new client, Sarah, who was in her early 30s and running a startup. I reviewed the project details and made sure everything was in order when she arrived at 10 a.m. We sat down in the conference room, and I walked her through our proposal. She seemed impressed, and by the end of the meeting, I felt a sense of accomplishment. Lunch. Around 12:30 p.m., my stomach started to growl, reminding me it was lunchtime. I decided to order food from my favorite Italian place nearby. I chose a margherita pizza with a side of Caesar salad. While waiting for the food to arrive, I chatted with a colleague, Mike, about weekend plans. He mentioned a new movie that had just come out, and we agreed to watch it together on Saturday. When the food arrived, I took a break and sat at my desk to eat. The pizza was delicious, with a thin, crispy crust and just the right amount of cheese. I ate slowly, enjoying every bite, and thinking about how the rest of the day would go. Afternoon. The afternoon was a mix of work and personal moments. I had a few more meetings, this time with my team to discuss ongoing projects. We worked through some challenges, brainstorming ideas, and coming up with solutions. Around 3 p.m., I took a quick break and grabbed a snack from the office kitchen, some mixed nuts and a cup of coffee. The caffeine helped me push through the last stretch of work. At 5 p.m., I wrapped up for the day and headed home. I was looking forward to a relaxing evening, especially since I had plans with my girlfriend, Emma. We've been dating for about a year now, and she's the sweetest person I know. We met at a mutual friend's party, and we've been inseparable ever since. Evening. By the time I got home, it was almost 6 p.m. I quickly changed into more comfortable clothes, a pair of jeans and a soft sweater, and tidied up the living room. Emma was coming over for dinner, and I wanted everything to be perfect. I ordered sushi from our favorite place and set the table with candles and our best plates.
When Emma arrived, she greeted me with a warm hug and a kiss on the cheek. She looked beautiful as always, wearing a simple but elegant dress. We sat down to eat, chatting about our day. She told me about a new project she was working on, and I could see the passion in her eyes as she spoke. I loved listening to her, feeling so proud of everything she was accomplishing. After dinner, we moved to the couch, and she rested her head on my shoulder. As we watched a movie, I felt so content just being close to her, and I couldn't imagine my life without her. But the night took a sudden turn. Emma seemed distant, her usual warmth replaced by something colder. When I asked her if everything was okay, she hesitated before telling me that she had met someone else. Her words hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt my heart drop. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She said she didn't want to hurt me, but she couldn't lie anymore. I sat there in silence, trying to process what she was saying. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief. How could this be happening? We had so many plans, so many dreams. The evening, which had started so perfectly, ended in heartbreak. I walked her to the door, and she left without another word. The apartment felt so empty, so quiet after she was gone. The next day was Saturday, but it didn't feel like a weekend. I stayed in bed longer than usual, not wanting to face the reality of what had happened. Eventually, I got up and decided to distract myself by cleaning the apartment. I threw away the candles from the night before, along with the memories that now felt tainted. My friends tried to cheer me up, inviting me out for drinks, but I wasn't in the mood. I spent the day in a kind of daze, just going through the motions. I ordered takeout for dinner, something quick and easy because I didn't have the energy to cook. As the weekend continued, I tried to focus on myself, doing things that made me feel better. I went for long walks, spent time reading, and even started a new hobby, painting. It was something I'd always wanted to try, and it helped me express the emotions I was struggling to deal with. But there were still moments when the pain would hit me out of nowhere, and I'd feel lost all over again. I started to question everything. Myself, my choices, my future. The world seemed a little darker, and I didn't know how long it would take to feel like myself again. Monday. By Monday, I knew I had to face the world again. I got up, put on my work clothes, and headed back to the office. The routine was comforting in a way, giving me something to focus on. My colleagues noticed that I was quieter than usual, but I brushed off their concerns, saying I was just tired. That evening, after work, I decided to call my family. My mom could always tell when something was wrong, and as soon as she heard my voice, she asked what had happened. I told her everything, and she listened patiently, offering me the comfort I needed. We talked for hours, and by the end of the conversation, I felt a bit lighter, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Moving forward, as the days went on, I slowly started to heal. I focused on my work, spent time with friends and family, and continued with my new hobby. I knew it would take time, but I also knew that I would be okay. One evening, I received a text from Emma asking if we could talk. My heart raced as I read her message, unsure of what to do. part of me wanted to see her, to try and understand what had happened, but another part of me knew it might just reopen old wounds. In the end, I decided to meet her. We talked, and she apologized, explaining that she had been confused and made a mistake. But as we talked, I realized that things would never be the same between us. I thanked her for being honest, but told her that I needed to move on. New beginnings. A few weeks later, I met someone new, a colleague from another department named Lily. She was kind, funny, and easy to talk to. We started hanging out as friends, and soon something more began to grow between us. It wasn't long before we were spending more and more time together, and I found myself smiling again, feeling hope for the future. Lily's birthday. Lily's birthday was fast approaching, and I wanted to make it a day she'd never forget. We had been dating for a few months now, and every day with her felt like a blessing. I started planning weeks in advance, making sure every detail was perfect. I knew she loved the ocean, so I decided to surprise her with a weekend getaway to a beachside resort. The day finally arrived. I picked her up in the morning, not telling her where we were going. She looked beautiful, her excitement palpable as she tried to guess our destination. After a few hours of driving, we finally reached the resort. The look on her face when she saw the ocean view from our room was priceless. Her eyes lit up and she gave me a big hug, thanking me for the surprise. That evening, I arranged for a private dinner on the beach. The table was set with candles, and the sound of the waves provided the perfect background music. As we enjoyed our meal, we talked about our dreams and our future together. It was in that moment that I realized how much I cared for her. I reached across the table, took her hand, and told her how much she meant to me. The look in her eyes told me she felt the same. After dinner, we took a walk along the shore. The moonlight reflecting off the water, we stopped at a secluded spot where I pulled her close and kissed her softly. It was a kiss filled with love and promise, and as we stood there, I knew that this was the beginning of something special. Valentine's Day celebration. Valentine's Day with Lily was everything I had hoped for and more. I wanted to make it special, so I planned a day full of surprises. We started the day with breakfast in bed, a tray filled with her favorite foods, pancakes, strawberries, and freshly squeezed orange juice. She laughed as I attempted to pour the juice without spilling it, and we spent the morning lounging in bed, talking and laughing. In the afternoon, I took her to a spa for a couples massage. It was a new experience for both of us, and we left feeling relaxed and closer than ever. But the real surprise came later that evening. I had arranged for a hot air balloon ride at sunset, something Lily had always dreamed of doing. As we ascended into the sky, the world below us seemed to disappear. The view was breathtaking, fields and forests stretching out as far as the eye could see, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Lily was speechless, her eyes wide with wonder. I wrapped my arms around her, holding her close as we floated through the sky. In that moment, it felt like we were the only two people in the world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I pulled out a small box from my pocket. Inside was a bracelet I had chosen for her, engraved with the coordinates of the place where we had our first date. When she saw it, her eyes filled with tears and she hugged me tightly. It was a perfect moment, one that I knew we would both remember for the rest of our lives. Intimate moments. Our relationship deepened with time, and so did our connection. We shared many intimate moments, both physically and emotionally. One night, after a long day, we found ourselves curled up on the couch talking about everything and nothing. The conversation flowed effortlessly, as it always did with Lily. We talked about our childhoods, our fears, our hopes for the future. At some point, the conversation shifted to love. Lily looked at me, her eyes soft, and asked me when I first knew I was falling for her.
I smiled, thinking back to our first few dates, and told her about the time we spent an entire evening talking at a small cafe, completely losing track of time. It was in that moment, I said, that I realized she was someone special, someone I could see myself with for the long haul. She smiled, leaning in to kiss me, and the world seemed to fade away. There was something incredibly tender about being so open with someone, about sharing parts of yourself that you usually keep hidden. We moved to the bedroom where we continued to explore that connection. It wasn't just about the physical act, it was about trust, vulnerability, and the deep bond we were building. Every touch, every kiss was a reminder of the love we were creating together. The power of forgiveness. But as with any relationship, there were challenges. We had our share of disagreements, moments where we misunderstood each other or let our insecurities get the best of us. There was one particular argument that stands out in my mind. It was over something small, something that didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but at the time, it felt huge. We spent hours talking it through, each of us trying to explain our perspective. It was exhausting, and there were moments when I wondered if we'd be able to resolve it. But what I learned from that experience was the power of forgiveness. We both had to let go of our pride, admit our mistakes, and forgive each other. It wasn't easy, but it brought us closer together in the end. Life lessons and new perspectives. Being with Lily taught me so much about life, love, and myself. We made a pact early on to always be honest with each other, no matter how difficult the conversation might be. This openness created a foundation of trust that made our relationship stronger. Another lesson was about the importance of balance. We both had busy lives with demanding jobs and other responsibilities, but we made sure to prioritize our relationship. We learned that it wasn't about spending every moment together, but about making the moments we did share meaningful. Lily also encouraged me to take risks and step out of my comfort zone, whether it was trying new activities like the hot air balloon ride or pursuing new career opportunities. She was always there to support me and push me to be my best self. Her belief in me gave me the confidence to take on challenges I might have shied away from in the past. Weekend getaways and adventures. One of the things we loved doing together was exploring new places. We made it a tradition to take a weekend getaway every few months to escape the routine of everyday life and create new memories. Whether it was a trip to a nearby city, a hike in the mountains, or a visit to a quaint town we'd never been to, each adventure brought us closer together. One weekend, we decided to go camping. Neither of us were particularly outdoorsy, but we thought it would be fun to try something different. We set up our tent by a lake, surrounded by trees and the sound of nature. That night, as we sat by the campfire, roasting marshmallows and talking under the stars, I realized how much I loved these moments with her. The simplicity of it all, the fire, the stars, the quiet, made me appreciate the beauty of life and the importance of slowing down to enjoy it. Facing fears together. As much as we enjoyed the good times, we also faced our share of challenges. There were times when fear and doubt crept into our lives, threatening to overshadow the happiness we had built. But we faced those fears together, supporting each other through the tough times. Lily had a fear of public speaking, something she had struggled with for years. When she was asked to present at a major conference, she was terrified. But I was there to help her prepare, practicing her speech with her until she felt confident. The day of the presentation, I sat in the front row cheering her on. When she finished, the applause was deafening, and the look of pride on her face made it all worth it. I had my own fears, too. Fear of failure, fear of losing the people I loved. But with Lily by my side, I learned to face those fears head on. She reminded me that it was okay to be scared, that fear was a part of life, but it didn't have to control me. Together, we learned that facing our fears made us stronger, both individually and as a couple. Valuing the present. One of the most valuable lessons I learned from my relationship with Lily was the importance of living in the present.
We often get caught up in worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, but Lily taught me to appreciate the here and now. There was a day when we were walking in the park and she stopped suddenly to admire a flower. It was such a small, simple thing, but she found so much joy in it. She looked at me and said, "Sometimes we're so busy thinking about tomorrow that we forget to enjoy today." That moment stuck with me, and I've tried to live by that philosophy ever since. Conclusion. Life is a journey full of twists and turns, joys and sorrows, love and loss. My time with Lily was filled with beautiful moments, life lessons, and the kind of love that changes you. But as life goes on, things change, and we learn to adapt, to grow, and to keep moving forward. In the end, it's the people we love, the experiences we share, and the lessons we learn that shape who we are. And as I continue on this journey, I carry those memories and lessons with me, knowing that they've made me a better person.